What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I am going to do a Q1 wrap up. So it is the end of March, beginning of April. I'm going to do my first quarter wrap up. Just kind of going over the books I read, a little bit of stats for y'all, for those that like that type of stuff, like me. So I'll start sharing my screen. Okay, so first we're going to start with just the books that I read. So this is what I read January, February, and March. You see, I only DNF 2 books. That's pretty good. So you see, I DNF Frozen River in February, and that's something I think I might go back to. I can't be too sure. I was bored. I was legit bored. And then the Book of Longings I DNF'd in March because it was straight up blasphemous, but I won't be going back to that. But I think I might go back to the Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. I can't make no promises, but I might. The first book I read this year was Girl 1. I read that in January. And then the last book I read was Weapons of Math Destruction. So let's see. Let's get into some stats. Okay, so here we go. Let's just jump into some stats. I'm using Storygraph. So I've read 44 books so far. That's for the first 3 months of 2025. Okay, so let's see these moods. They're kind of interesting to me. So most of what I read is reflective, then emotional, then dark, then challenging. Then we have adventurous, informative, tense, sad, inspiring, mysterious, and lighthearted. Y'all see that sliver of lighthearted? I be trying. I wonder what that lighthearted book is. Let me see if I can click on it to see what's lighthearted. Let's see. Wait, you can click on it and see. I want to go back and see what's actually lighthearted. One book. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is considered the one book that I read that's lighthearted. Okay, we'll take that. The average time it takes me to finish a book is 5 days. So I said I read 44 books, and that is 12,193 pages in Q1. Okay. Moving on. So the pace, most of the books I read, 57% are medium pace, 23% fast pace, and then 20% is slow pace. Page number, 64% of the books I read are less than 300 pages. 34% of the books that I read are between 300 and 499 pages, and 2% of the books that I read are over 500 pages. Okay, so fiction books, 69% of the books I've read so far are fiction and 31% nonfiction. Most of the books I've read this year so far have been classics, followed by the literary genre, then historical, then science fiction, memoir, fantasy, dystopian, LGBTQIA, thriller, biography, music, religion, young adult, middle grade. Shout out to Harry Potter. Yeah, speculative fiction, autobiography, graphic novel, politics, magical realism, self-help, psychology, poetry, technology, mathematics, race, history, science, feminism, gender, essays, contemporary, and short stories. Cool. Okay. 77% of the books that I read have been print. 23% have been digital on my Kindle. And my most read author so far has been Toni Morrison. That's to be expected because I'm making my way through her fictional catalog. So that's to be expected. Okay, again, we're only doing the first 3 months. So you see I read the most pages in March, but the most books I read were in January. Wait, nope, I take that back. I read more books in March than January. That's crazy. I thought I read more in January. Maybe I messed something up. But yeah, and then my average rating, I don't rate in these apps, so I always put 0 stars when I'm in Storygraph. I just don't. I don't really put ratings there like that. So yeah, then let's go back. So I'm going to kind of just talk over a few of these books that I've read this year so far. So in January, I feel like I started off pretty strong. Some of my favorites in January Well, let me just say this. My least favorite book I read in January was Black Shield Maiden, followed by The XY. Those are my bottom two books. But if I had to say my favorite book, that's so hard because, like, I've been reading some good books. I'm going to group my favorite. I'll say the Toni Morrison books, Animal Farm, and Kindred. Those are my top books that I read in January. In February, I'm going to say, again, the Toni Morrison group, The Giver, and King. And then in March, I'm going to say the Toni Morrison group, Sunrise of the Reaping, All About Love, Shakespeare, Things Fall Apart. I'm trying to decide. Yeah, and Don't Cry for Me and Isaac's Song. I'm gonna group those together too. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. Did I not like? So the thing about the Fearless and Free by Josephine Baker, I want to read another book about Josephine Baker. I just feel like this one was. I just didn't like the way that it was told. The story itself was interesting. Her life was interesting. Her contributions. I want to read another book about her. So I will say that wasn't my favorite book, but I liked her story. I like learning about Josephine Baker. So I'm going to pick up another book by her. And then my least favorite book in March. That's so hard. I feel like I want to cop out and say the book I DNF. But it's too hard because all of these were great in their own way. I can't decide for March. I've been reading some bangers. I can't decide. I can't. But yeah. That's just a quick video of my stats for those who are interested. Not everybody is interested, but I be wanting to know stuff like that. So let me know your stats so far. What have you read? What's been your top books, your least favorite books? And then what do you want to read? I know this year I want to read a few more Stephen King books. I know I want to read, get into N.K. Jemisin's catalog. And what else do I want to read? A couple of C.S. Lewis books that I have my eye on. So we'll see what this year brings. Let me know what y'all reading for the rest of the year. See ya.